This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
These days, I can do anything from my phone. Book a vacation, order a meal from a 5-star restaurant, buy and trade stocks. But maybe the most amazing thing I can do is make my dirty laundry disappear and then reappear perfectly washed and folded. I have Rinse to thank for that. I just schedule a pickup in the Rinse app or at rinse.com. A Rinse valet comes to get my clothes, and before I know it, they're back, crisply folded and ready to wear. They even do dry cleaning, which is returned hanging in a nice Rinse garment bag. And with Rinse, my satisfaction is guaranteed. If for any reason I'm not happy, they'll re-clean my clothes for free. Best of all, Rinse saves me tons of time each week. That's time I get to do something I love versus something I have to do. So if you want to save loads of time by not doing loads of laundry, remember, there's an app for that, Rinse. Sign up now and get $20 off your first order at rinse.com. That's RINSE.com.
Catch Game 4 tonight with our Ultra KFAN watch party at Heartbreakers in Chaska. Zach Halverson, Halvey, will be there, and he has your shot to win great prizes, play games, and sample Michelob Ultra. Pre-party kicks at 8 p.m. Full details now, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Fox.
PA.
How valuable is Rudy the way they use him on defense?
Yeah, I think.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I think it's excellent what the Wolves have been doing. You can tell that Chris Finch has really kind of figured out how he wants to use Rudy, right? And we've talked about on this show. The one thing I love about Chris Finch is he really doesn't deviate from his plan, right? And I think that's an excellent culture. I think that's an excellent way to win a basketball game, win a playoff series, is if you are kind of setting the standard and you're making other people adjust to you. No, yeah, you got to make adjustments, right? If Buddy Hield gets really hot in game 4, you got to try to figure out different ways to shut him down. But I love what they've done with Rudy Gobert. 13 rebounds last game, 9 points. So just a point away there from a double-double. The Warriors don't have the size. And we talked about it exiting last segment. They don't have the size. They don't have ways to compete with the Timberwolves size interiorly. So I think the one thing that Rudy Gobert has done excellently is rebound. And the Warriors really crash the glass. You can tell that it's a key point of emphasis for their scout and their film is, hey, we have to crush the offensive glass.
With the guards.
Yes, because we're not making shots. We're not shooting well enough to stay in this game. So we have to crash glass. We have to get offensive rebounds. And Rudy's been really clearing that out. 9 defensive rebounds in game 3.
The Podziemski bit can really rebound. I mean, it's now if you're instructed, get in there and rebound. We need all hands on deck for the boards. He's just like I hadn't watched him play that much this year, and he was kind of in and out, which means Kurachek got bored with him, and then gave him a chance, bored with him, give him a chance, stuff like that. But but after they traded Andrew Wiggins, Podziemski started to play markedly more. He's just, I think he was 3rd overall pick in the draft or something like that 2 years ago. So therefore, you're supposed to be good, especially out of Santa Clara. But my man's just a really good overall scrappy basketball player, isn't he?
Yeah, you can tell he's got a high IQ for the game. The offensive side hasn't really come for him in this playoff series. He was 1 for 10 last game, 1 for 4 for 3. So you can just tell that he's really searching for his game on the offensive side of the ball, and that can be difficult as a player, right? You can kind of react to that in 2 different ways. You can be upset about it and kind of pout and give less energy, or you can find a way to really bounce back. And I think that's kind of what we've seen from Brandon Podziemski. He's really offensively rebounded the ball well. He had 3 offensive rebounds last game, was second on his team behind Kevon Looney with 4, and then 5 defensive rebounds. So a total of 8 rebounds, led the Warriors in rebounding. And I think you're right, PA. That's clearly a point of emphasis that his coaches, his player personnel coaches are telling him, hey, if the ball's not falling for you, if the shot's not falling, you got to find other ways to impact the game. And offensively rebounding has been one of those points for Brandon Podziemski.
Think about all of the big men that you've watched, from when you were lowercase P Fox to where you are now, capital P Fox, Parker Fox.
Shout out KG.
So, yeah, KG, we got Shaq. So think big man, but Shaq would be a wonderful example here. Mm-hmm. And I just can't recall seeing, for whether it's Jimmy Butler or the ninth player, off their bench. It's Stifle Tower. Rudy Gobert is the only player in the league. They dribble into the key full throttle. They see Stifle.
Yep.
They stop.
Yeah.
And they retreat.
It's a business decision.
I mean, I can't even remember that being the case with Shaq. You know what I mean? Defense.
Gobert, McDaniels, Julius Randle's. They're really making the Warriors work for every bucket. You know? And I think, like you said, that's such a special thing that the Timberwolves have, right? Like, there's a defensive 3-second violation in the NBA. You can't be sitting there forever. But Rudy's figured out how to go in and out of the key, how to really be that second line of defense, which what does that do for your defense if you have a second line? It allows your first line to be even more intense and pressure even more. And I think that's something that's so key in this series, especially without Steph Curry. You have to lean towards Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is shooting 4 for 27, which is 14%, when either guarded by Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels, or Anthony Edwards as a primary defender.
Hold on. What was that?
Jimmy Butler, who is supposed to be the Warriors' go-to guy right now. He's shooting 14% from the field when he's guarded by Julius, Jaden, or Ant.
Julius Randle, after Game 3, talked exactly about that.
That's what this team is all about, defense and working hard.
Well, Jimmy Butler, he played 43 minutes in Game 3. And in the first 3 quarters, 11 of 19, 28 points. Fourth quarter, 1 of 7, 5 points. Oof. And he's missing layups.
Yeah.
Old people lose their vertical in the fourth quarter when they play a long time. Look at self-proclaimed king.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to him, right?
You're right.
But with these players, these players who just come steaming down the key with dunk on their minds.
Yeah.
And then they see Stifle.
Yeah.
And they stop. Mm-hmm. Let's put it this way. I mean, he's doing that so well. If it's Walker Kessler,
I always love that one.
They're finishing the dunk.
You're right.
They're coming right through. Walker Kessler, man, they'll be dunking on him, but not Stifle Tower.
Well, you're right about Rudy too, PA, and I think it's such a difficult thing to do because you have to play two, right? You have to play the drive, but you also have to remember that you have a primary defender that can be dumped down and passed to. So you got to do both, and Rudy is absolutely excellent. There's a reason why he's a defensive player of the year multiple times.
This is the Steve's Appliances marathon segment with beloved P. Fox, Parker Fox, stevesappliances.com. Take advantage of the shop deals on the very front page at stevesappliances.com. Elite people, elite store, and stop by Steve's Appliances if appliances indeed are what you need. Now, don't you find it nice playing a team that has a guy like Draymond Green, who never gets the 50-50 calls? Mm-hmm. I mean, into the Lakers series, we know how the Jordan rules are going to go with LeBron.
Yeah.
Luka complains himself into about 5 calls during a series. Mm-hmm. So winning the 50-50 calls against those guys doesn't generally happen. It's 70-30 against Draymond.
Certainly.
Ain't no Scott Foster, ain't no any of the stripes handling these games, giving Draymond Green the benefit of the doubt, right?
It's funny to see kind of the ref discrepancy when it comes to a guy like Draymond Green, right? Because you saw in the second game, Draymond was almost begging to be kicked out of the game. He's almost begging for his second technical foul, and the refs are like, "No, you're playing in this game. We're not giving you a cheap second foul, a second technical. Like, you're going to play the rest of this game out," because Draymond knew that one was kind of wraps, So he's like, "Hey, give me that second foul, give me that second tech, let me get out of here." So I think it's hilarious that the refs are like, "Hey, that's not happened." Shout out to Tony Brothers for really controlling that one on the referee side of the bit. But Draymond, he's excellent. PA, I think you're a fan of Draymond just as I am. I think the way that he orchestrates an offense, the way he really settles in a defense.
Oh, Draymond, the player?
The player,
yeah.
Yes.
When we're not yelling, when we're not purposely kicking people in the spot, when we're not stretching out legs trying to break ankles. Yeah, I mean, point Draymond, and Finch was on. We're going to play it back here soon, but Finch was on 9 to noon 2 hours ago, 2 hours and change ago. And, Finchy talked about Point Julius putting the power and power forward and how he can lead the offense through Julius.
Certainly.
This is we ain't here to dust off old trade talk conversations, but that's like one of the first things you and I talked about when they traded Karl Anthony Towns was,
you bet,
I think Julius is naturally a tougher person.
Certainly.
Secondly, I think that will bear its fruit in the postseason. Thirdly, you can run your offense through Julius because, unlike Cat, he can dribble. Mm-hmm. And Cat can't dribble. I mean, it's almost like Rudy. Yes, Rudy can catch, but no, Rudy can't catch. I mean, it's like rebounds coming down sometimes. You can't just get the mitts on passes.
Those long arms, man.
Well, when you're with Rudy, when you're running down the key
Yes.
and you take a bounce pass for what should be a dunk, that's a hide the women and children scenario.
Oh, yeah.
For Rudy to catch it on the run. But nevertheless, he's super vital in this series. And, just with Draymond and Julius Randle, there's a reason they get the ball at half court and they start orchestrating the offense's point forwards. Mm-hmm. You would never do that with Karl Anthony Towns.
No, you wouldn't. And I think you and me talked about it when this trade went down several months ago about why is this trade happening, right? Like why are you trading away the arguably best big man 3-point shooter of all time and getting a guy like Julius Randle? And I think you're right, PA. I think it's his toughness. But more importantly, in my mind, is his playmaking, his ability to facilitate the offense. It's obviously was seen in Game 3 with his triple-double performance, but it's been absolutely crucial in creating scoring opportunities for this Wolves team. Yeah, they have guys that can go get an isolation bucket. Yeah, you have an Anthony Edwards that can go get one by himself. But some of these other guys, like a Nickeil Alexander-Walker or a Naz Reid, they absolutely benefit off of standstill catch-and-shoot threes. And where is that offense coming from? It has to be created by another player. Mm-hmm. And when you have a mismatch like Julius Randle creates, being able to dribble the ball, like you said, especially as a lefty, you don't see as many lefty drives in the NBA. He's able to drive with that left hand, take a bump. He's not getting bumped. He's facilitating the bump, which creates that secondary weak side defender to come and help. Now you're just spraying the ball all over the court, and you have guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid stepping up and making big shots like we saw in Game 3 from Naz Reid. 3 for 3 from 3. Just was able to that catch and shoot. That quick trigger from Naz Reid, that flick of the wrist, that's all set up from Julius Randle. Now it's just an easy game for Naz Reid to knock it down.
Coach Lance, coach of the Rosemount High School boys varsity basketball team.
9 to noon.
He's quickly becoming a good friend of mine. He's a church friend of mine. We chat every Sunday, and before the sermons begin, we chat about the how. And we were talking yesterday about left-handed basketball players. And okay, Julius is left-handed. The shot comes from the left side. The young P-Foxes or the D1 P-Foxes are generally taught, when somebody is a little shaky with their offhand, well, you take away the right, make them go left. Well, that's like 95% of all the players you've ever played against, right?
Oh yeah, right away, right or lefty. You got to shade the side.
Is that why at times it can be so awkward and difficult to guard left-handed players?
Oh, it certainly can. And then you add that onto the fact of his sheer size that Julius Randle possesses. And a lot of guys that dribble with that left hand, they're able to, create contact, but it's kind of one of those neutral situations. If you watch Julius Randle, he's always facilitating the contact, and he's always making the defender take that extra step back. I think, you could talk about driving left, driving right, but I think the biggest thing for Julius is his ball handling skills are so high, especially with his size and strength.
Yes, and he doesn't panic when he gets claustrophobic in the key. He dribbles a certain way, or he gets his body lower to the ground. Mm-hmm. He can dribble himself out of trouble quite well. And you know what? With Julius, holy cow, do I love him. I mean, I really, really appreciated his, and it's not like I'm saying this for the first time, but I didn't watch him a ton with New Orleans. I remember him with the Lakers, but I didn't watch him. But I watched him a fair amount with the Knicks. And, including one game where he might have had like 55, 56 against the Timberwolves.
Sure, yeah.
But he just has this overall multifaceted game that I and we always have appreciated.
Yeah.
But one thing, there are two things about Julius. I brought one up with Finchy. is that, how many times in your life have you been told you made a mistake? Okay, you dribbled out of bounds, ball goes off your knee, you hack somebody, and one, just dumb P. Fox moment.
For sure.
And tight game. So how many coaches have told you, bro, shake it off?
A million.
Okay, because you're back out there, you're important.
Exactly.
And you can't let that linger.
You're on the floor for a reason.
Okay, but with Draymond Green, Anthony Edwards, with all due respect, Karl Anthony Towns, some other players, it lingers.
Oh, yeah.
You can just tell that it's still eating at them. With Julius Randle, he makes a mistake. That sucker is in one ear, out the other in 2 seconds. He does not let that stuff perpetuate.
Next play mentality. It's just like last year. If you saw Sam Darnold miss a slant across the middle of the field, throws it behind somebody, you can't let that throw affect your next hook throw to the sideline and you're trying to get that 5 yards to get the first down. You can't let one play affect the next. And yes, you're right, PA. Julius hasn't been perfect. There's some things on the offensive side of the ball, whether it's, some charge calls, whether it's some turnovers. He hasn't been perfect, but you're right. The stabilization and the force that he's become to kind of just flip the script and say, hey, I messed that one up. It's the next play mentality. It's something that guys, young in their career struggle with so much. And you add that into the referee talking in the NBA.
Yeah.
And you've seen it. It's so different than any other sport. The way you're able to talk to these refs and just go at them almost without getting a technical foul. Getting caught up in that nuance and that kind of BS, it'll affect you.
Yeah.
It'll continue to affect you. So I think you're right, PA. I think Julius Randle's ability to kind of flush things and move on to the next play.
Unbelievable.
The leadership that comes from that, other guys see that, like an Anthony Edwards, teamed with that. Like,
preach.
Man, that's a special thing to have on your team.
And secondly when you're playing at the D1 level or you're playing at the NBA level, well, you're there because you belong there.
Oh, yeah.
And you're better than 99.2% of the world. So there's going to be a pride factor that all of these players have to have.
Yeah.
Competitive arrogance is the way I generally put it. And it's not a shot. It's a competitive arrogance. I know I'm better than you. No hard feelings. We're going to talk after the game, but that's what. So, like with Julius, pride, it's valor is not the better part of discretion. In other words, he'll discern. I'm tired of Draymond, and we're singled up here, and I've been doing this all my life, and I don't care who he is. I'm scoring on him. Meanwhile, Draymond plants those feet in the ground. No, that ain't happening.
Certainly.
Okay, I'm not moving, and I'll take a charge because I'm good at it, and I'm going to force you to do things you don't want to do. But Julius generally won't force it. We had some aggressive wrong foot fall away terrorism in the key in the last game, and they didn't go in. So a couple of times, pride was the better part of valor. Mostly, he recognizes this ain't it. I got to pass.
Yeah.
Not everybody's like that, man, especially in nationally televised games.
Yeah, Julius, he's not just hooping, but he's maturing. He's not always the loudest voice.
Preach.
He's not always the guy that's going to, be the flashy. Last game, he had a triple-double, and it wasn't flashy in any way, shape, or form. I think, he's battled through some things throughout his career that have really led him to this point, and he's really playing with poise. He's not forcing shots. He's letting the game come to him, and I think that's such an underrated skill to have in the playoffs. When your back is kind of against the wall and in some way, shape, or form, sometimes things start to get a little looser, and sometimes you start to force things. We haven't seen that from Julius. He's really let the game come to him, which is kind of let players around him kind of see, hey, we don't have to force it. Like, we're a good enough team as it is. Let's play our style of basketball, and good things are going to come our way.
If you check Buddy Hield and you check him the right way, well, they should have minimal potency from three, right? Jimmy hates shooting threes.
Yeah. They're not shooting. And the weird thing in this series,
it's Buddy Hield, man, you got to check him.
It's this Warriors team, why do you go out and get a guy like Buddy, right? Because you lose a guy like Klay Thompson, and you need more shooting from the perimeter. So you go,
bench.
Exactly. So you go find a guy like Buddy, who's notoriously known for, his 3-point shooting ability throughout his career. But it hasn't been super prevalent throughout this series. Like, he was hot in game 3. He goes 4 for 8 from 3, but he's obviously a key on this Timberwolves defensive side of the ball. How do we stop a guy like Buddy? Because ultimately what he's bringing is a vital 3-point shooting, which they need. And the floor spacing is obviously huge, but the big thing that I've seen from Buddy Hield is kind of his defensive effort on the defensive side of the ball. You can tell that this Warriors team is really built into, hey, we have to keep this thing below 100 to
You're
win
so
the game.
right. Buddy is, and I've watched him in Sacramento, Indiana. Buddy Hield has never cared this much about defense in his life.
No, never. Throughout the series, his perimeter shooting, it's always a consistent threat, right? It's always going to be there. If you can shoot the ball at that high of a level, it's always going to be there. But how do you add other things to your game? How do you impact winning? And you could tell that Steve Kerr's really gotten under his skin about defensive effort.
And don't forget about that sub button and make sure you hit that bell so you know anytime Parker Fox joins 9 to noon.
I always love that.
Lastly, yesterday, the assumption is you met Lionel Messi.
I didn't get to meet him. No, I was.
No, stop right there.
PA, this is a sore subject.
Is it? Well, Andy Geter, a tweet I saw this morning, I think that's a Geder. Been around for a while, Andy Geter. I should know your last name. But I saw some tweet where he's basically like, those stars at Allianz to meet Messi included Taylor Heisey, Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, Kirill Kaprizov, and Beloved Zuki. They all met Messi before the game.
Gosh.
Where's people? That's Taylor Heisey, as in
that's
your friend Taylor Heisey?
That's the girlfriend, yeah.
Well, I mean, and her name was first, by the way.
Her name was first, which is pretty cool.
So you saw the tweet?
I definitely saw the tweet.
Frame that tweet. Your name's ahead of Kirill Kaprizov, and he's JJ.
Oh, my gosh.
What happened?
Yeah. I was up in the suite. So, they got home from a Game 2 win in Toronto.
Are we going to the playoffs or are we dead?
We are in the playoffs, yeah.
They made it?
Just won Game 3 last night. We're up 2-1 in the series.
Oh, they're in the playoffs.
7-5 win.
Hey.
7-5 win last night. It was like a Vikings.
Well, wait, let's go back to last week. How did they make the playoffs? They were like a 30% piece.
Yeah, they were. They needed to win the last 2 games.
Zumwinkle carried them.
Zumwinkle carried. Yeah, you're right. They needed to win the last 2 games of regular season to make it in. Ended up winning both of those. So
that's what Taylor does.
That's what Taylor does. Yeah,
right.
Showed up great. Had 3 assists last night in a 7-5 win. So
wait, I mean,
but no, that was unbelievable. PA. So we get there.
You played for the Golden Gophers basketball team 3 months ago. 2 months ago. That's D1 cred right there.
I'm forgotten now. PA. It's all good.
Anyway,
it's all good. But. I got to watch from the suite. I got to watch Taylor, JJ, Aaron Jones, Kirill,
Lucky Jackson.
Yeah, I got to watch them meet Lionel Messi, arguably one of the most famous athletes in my era, for sure, watching sports, being a soccer rube.
You're a soccer rube? Like Blakemore?
Like Blakemore. And we cheer for the same team,
That's
too.
right.
We got a huge game coming up.
What, Tottenham?
Tottenham Hotspur.
You guys like Tottenham, right?
Yeah, we're Tottenham.
No, hold on. Okay. Did you want to meet Lionel Messi?
Oh, yeah. Dude, don't play this.
Play what?
I'm like the guy that ran on the field after the game wanting to meet Lionel Messi. Of course, man. I'm an absolute Lionel Messi
But if your girlfriend gets to go to the field to meet Lionel Messi, well, how is it not an absolute requirement P. Fox is by her side?
I didn't make it in that one, man. But I'm happy she got to do it, right? I think that's
so sad.
It's sad, but what an awesome opportunity. I was living through her. I was cheering for her as she got to go through that moment. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Wow.
And then the picture they took pregame, she was right in between Messi and JJ. So I zoomed in and got an unbelievable picture. It went Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Taylor Heisey, Lionel Messi.
What if it's P. Fox standing behind them?
Hey, man, I'll be the photographer for this one.
I understand.
It's all bite the bullet.
Well, we, my friend, we will be listening to you at 7:30 this evening.
Please do.
You and Maxwell howling with the homies. It's the pregame show up to Game 4, Wolves and Warriors, when they come out to play. Yay. I appreciate you, man.
Love you, PA.
I love you, too. Parker Fox. Here's Brett Blakemore with the cash thing. Then we'll hear from some Finchy.
The Cash Thing, the fan at BigDeck.com, will give you a shot to win bonus bucks to the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com and keyword cash. The keyword cash, KFAN.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hi, this is Debbie, your Blinds.com design consultant.
Oh, wow. A real person.
Yep. I'm here to help you with everything from selecting the perfect window treatments to...
Well, I've got a complicated project.
No problem. We make the complex simple. And I can even help schedule a professional measure and install.
I didn't realize you did that.
Yeah. We can also send you samples, fast and free.
Wow. I mean, I always thought I needed a designer to come to my home, but scheduling's always a nightmare.
Not with Blinds.com. We're on your schedule, and there's no haggling, no pressure, no hidden fees either.
I just might have to do more.
Oh, okay. Whatever you need. How about you tell me what you had in mind?
Okay, then. So the first room we're looking at is for guests coming over.
Blinds.com has covered over 25 million windows, all backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com now and get up to 50% off with minimum purchase. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Keyword
So Finchie has 18 playoff wins, most in the history of the Minnesota Timberwolves. We began our chat earlier with that because the person he passed, God rest the soul of the late Flip Saunders, somebody Chris absolutely respects.
Good morning, PA. Thank you very much. Yeah, incredible coach. Got to know him a little bit when I was working with Kevin McHale. They were, had worked together, of course, and were college teammates and good friends. And so I never worked with Flip, but I know what he means to the organization, and to be able to be, in his kind of company is quite the honor.
And victories in the playoffs, 19 and 20, would get the Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals. Julius Randle and his triple-double on Saturday. I mean, he puts the power in power forward. How much does it help the overall plan, Coach, that you can run the offense through Julius and it runs quite well?
Yeah, I mean, I love that, the power and power forward. He's just one of the most physical players in the league offensively, and defensively, but he leads with his physicality on offense, it makes him a tough cover. Every single time down, he's gonna hit you. He's gonna make you play him. And when we got him, we felt that this is exactly what we needed at this time of the season. Another guy that you can give the ball to. Things calm down. He's going to be able to get to his spots. He's going to be able to get to his shots. And what he's done such an incredible job of over the last 40 games is just, finding his teammates, making the right play every single time, leading with his playmaking, but yet still staying aggressive and stepping up when the game needs it to get the big bucket.
With Julius, in essence, being point forward, is it similar to how they start much of the time with Draymond Green handling the ball? And it seems quite similar. And if so, do they have any cool plays you can steal?
Yeah, they got a lot of cool plays, actually. One of the more creative offenses in the league. It's very similar to that. It's similar to what Denver does with Jokic. He brings the ball down a lot. In a series like this where there's so much perimeter defense by both teams, makes it hard for you to come down and get into your sets in the traditional way. But fortunately, we're very comfortable playing through Julius, and generally they don't pressure bigs 94 feet like they would guards and regular ball handlers.
Have you ever with Julius Randle? Have you ever coached a player who shakes off mistakes better than him? Like in Game 3, very late, it was right in front of you. That weird cross court punt that he threw, and he knew he blew it right when it left his hands. Yeah. But you can tell he doesn't get down on himself and personifies living to play another play, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, he knew it. I don't know what he had seen in that play. He kind of just kind of froze a little bit. I think he was expecting them to come foul him, and he was maybe trying to get rid of it before they did. But yeah, he was disappointed in himself, but he shook off the play and went down right away, got a I don't know if we got to stop or not. I can't remember, but we finished the game out in good fashion. So, yeah, I think he's at that point in his career where, he realizes that it's all about the next play. It's all about the right play. It's all about the winning play.
So Chris, 3 into this series now, and looking back, what was the extra time off after the Lakers absolutely a good thing?
I mean, not if you consider how we played game 1 out of the gate. It was probably too much time. And, if I had to go back and do it again, there'd be certain things I would alter about our preparation that, the way we practiced or what we practiced, at the time we thought we were doing it right, but in retrospect, there were things we probably should do different or should have done different. But it's one of the balance. You can look at it the other side, Pia. I mean, with the Steph soft tissue injury, unfortunately for them, they may have loved to have a few days coming into that series rather than just a quick 2-day turnaround. So you never know. You just kind of have to. Every team's different. Every series is different. Every preparation is different. So there's no real blueprint to do it. But I don't think it served us well.
But bottom line, this time of the year, I mean, getting any extra time to stretch out the legs, I mean, that's nothing but good news, right? I mean, I'd guess that the players recognize winning this one tonight and wrapping it up this week, if possible, and waiting for the next one with extra days, that's best for the greater good, right?
For sure. I mean, I think that's what you would choose. You would always choose that. That's the more ideal scenario.
Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, thanks to Second Harvest Heartland and Prize Picks. Very cool of Chris to get up early. Out San Francisco way to join 9 to noon. 9 o'clock tonight, Alan Horton on the call. KFAN, Game 4, Wolves and Warriors. Wolves lead the series 2-1. When you say it took you guys a while to figure out Randall and the playmaking piece, what were some obstacles?
Well, I think, first of all, I think just usage and fit. Like, we talk about usage in the league. It's basically like who has the ball in their hands, and what happens when the ball is in their hands. And at the time we had, we were looking for Julius to be a primary scorer. Ant, of course, is a primary scorer, but Ant was handling the ball more. Mike Conley was trying to handle the ball as a point guard. So effectively we had 3 guys who needed the ball or wanted the ball in their hands early and often for a variety of reasons, and all of them good. But we had to kind of reshape that puzzle. And what we effectively did is we moved Mike Conley off the ball a little bit more, asked him to become more of a scorer and be more aggressive, looking for his spot-up shooting. Julius was able to facilitate that and find him. Anthony kind of deferred a little bit more to Julius earlier in the game when Julius and him were still in. Then Julius comes out, one of our earlier subs, that Anthony handles more because neither Mike nor Julius are in at that time. And sometimes these change according to matchups and personnel. So a lot of it had to do with just rotations, who we had on the floor, when, how, and how we employed them with each other.
How about Rudy? I mean, Rudy he changes games this way, but he changed that whole game 3 by just stopping guys by the basket and forcing passes to others. And so much of what he did Saturday night, it just doesn't show up in the box score, right?
Yeah, typical Rudy game in that way. It wasn't game 5, 27 points, 24 rebounds where you felt him, to your point on the stat sheet every single time down. He also got a couple offensive rebounds down the stretch, kept alive a ball at the corner 3 that Anthony hits. He keeps it alive so Julius can get the offensive rebound. And when we talk about, big players being big and doing things that big teams do, Rudy personifies that. And when he's playing like that, he just is a game changer, to your point.
Hey, and with the Warriors, Chris, props to Jonathan Kuminga. Seriously, I mean, he attacked and got some makes over Rudy. Kuminga's gifted, isn't he?
He is. he is a very gifted scorer. He's got definitely got that. He reminds me a little bit of Ant. He's got that scorer's mentality. He's going to be able to get to his spots. He's going to come downhill on you. He's going to put his shoulder on you and hit you before he finishes. I give him great props, too, because he's been out of the rotation for quite a while. And for him to be able to come into this series and be able to contribute like that, it's a credit to him and his professionalism, staying ready, and, of course, his talent and skill. And credit to you guys with 13 offensive rebounds Saturday. I know they had 12, but you had 13. And here's why. Is they led by 5 with about 8 minutes to go in game 3. And you guys got a couple of threes off offensive rebounds. And, I mean, it was debilitating to the Warriors, man. You could see it from afar. It completely snatched the momentum. Was that where you guys made the winning move? Yeah, I felt like there was a couple key plays that, and most of them happened when we were down. We got down 8 at one point. Julius gets the and one right away, so that cuts it back to a 2-possession game. And I think somewhere in the vicinity of that play was also Anthony's left wing 3, which was a tough 3 that goes down. So as soon as they were able to put a little distance in the game, we were able to come right back up with 2 big plays, really, offensively. And it was a tough night to sustain any kind of offense for either team because the defense was so good on both sides of the ball, or for both teams, rather. And so you just, when that happens, offensive rebounds are going to be huge because generally there's going to be more misses, and you got to go get them back, and you hope that they lead to some sort of cleaner looks because the floor is a little bit more broken at that point. I'm assuming with your guys, Chris, that you want them at times to pick up the tempo on offense. And I ask because there have been so many times that you've just looked like a third base coach with that arm gesture, like you're waving somebody home really quick to kind of get them going. Yeah. I mean, with the way that the Warriors can play defense, and I think, Steve's doing it too. Like both teams, they're trying to prioritize running, but the effort and the energy that's going into the defense by both teams doesn't always leave the most amount of fuel in the tank to get out and run every single time. But it is a priority for us. I know it's a priority for them. Is in any way part of their plan, Chris, limiting your transition game? And if so, how effective have they been? Yeah, for sure. They're trying to limit our transition game. They're trying to extend their pressure. They've done a good job with that. That naturally will slow you down. They've been showing Anthony multiple bodies as soon as he comes over the half court line. That kind of slows us down right there. And those are things that we're going to have to be better at tonight. A couple more to close here with Chris Finch, coach of the Wolves, and clearly. It's difficult for the Warriors to generate threes without Steph Curry. So it is dominating that facet of the game, something that just has to happen until he returns, outscoring them mightily from beyond the arc. We feel, we know that their offense is capable of generating threes at a high level. Of course, the gravity of Steph moving around the floor really opens up a lot of opportunities for his teammates. And so now it's our discipline guarding on the perimeter, and not giving them those windows to find each other from the 3-point line. That is a huge part of what we're trying to do. I think it's a huge part of what they're trying to do too. I think they're trying to run us off the 3-point line. It's funny when you start looking at these, game plans. I would imagine there's a lot of similar game plan points on both sides of the ball. And maybe part of your game plan, specifically in Game 3, you guys were so physical and aggressive on the ball Saturday night with that defense, especially early, man. But when you say the guys kept getting in each other's way early, what does that mean? Yeah, spacing. Our spacing was we were a little bit on top of each other. We needed to open up the floor with our spacing a bit more. To your point about transition, I thought, we were stopping short in transition. We weren't using the entire depth of the floor to kind of open up early lanes to attack or get into our early offense. And when we were whether it be running a pick and roll or some sort of off-ball action. We just kind of didn't separate well enough. And with that physical, handsy defense, aggressive, athletic defense that they were playing, you need to really create advantages quicker.
And lastly, when Anthony dunks like he did with the one-hander, how much does that fire up the entire production, including Edwards?
Oh, it's mighty for us. I mean, he did a great job, I thought, of attacking and staying in attack mode when the game opened up for him to do that. We've seen that before. And when he's able to get down there and have one of those spectacular in-traffic dunks, I think it just motivates him as much as anything else because, he knows that at that point in time, he can definitely get to where he wants to go.
My man, you have a game in like 11 hours and change, so you better get going and enjoy the San Francisco morning. Thank you very much for the chat, and we'll talk soon. All right, Chris?
All right, thanks, PA. Take care.
Finchy.
I'm a kid, so I come.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Tech.
7:30 for the pregame, howling with the homies, as in Max Fuller and Parker Fox.
#Faith Radio.
9 to noon, back with you tomorrow when we rise and shine at 9. Complete recap of what should be a Timberwolves victory tonight. Brett Blakemore produces, and I'm Paul Allen. Dan Cole, the common man, and the program next on FM 100.3 KFAN. Thanks for the good times. Bye-bye.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Okay, have you heard about this? Last year, Degree changed the formula for their Cool Rush deodorant. Their fans rebelled and wanted the old scent back. And Degree listened. That doesn't happen often.
They admitted that they effed up and are bringing the original Cool Rush scent back. And it's exactly how you remember it. Cool, crisp, and fresh. There's a reason it's the #1 men's antiperspirant, and it's back in Walmart, Target, and other stores for under $4.
So try it and see what the fuss is about. Head to your local stores to try the OG Cool Rush for yourself.
Summer on the south side of Chicago is heating up.
You planning revenge?
Aren't you? The Chi is back May 16th on Paramount Plus. It's the season of the women.
Women, this is our chance. It's time to get to work.
But the men aren't giving up without a fight.
Street's always gonna have a villain.
No one is backing down in the Showtime original series from Emmy Award winner Lena Waithe.
Why do black women always have to save the day? If we don't do it, who else will?
The Chi, new season streaming May 16th on the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan.
Wasabi Technologies is purpose-built to free businesses from skyrocketing storage costs and unpredictable egress fees from those old and top-heavy legacy providers. You know, the big guys. Wasabi is the go-to provider for professional and collegiate sports teams around the world. From Wasabi's AI-enabled intelligent media storage, Wasabi Air, to the industry's only cloud storage service with triple protection against cyber criminals, Wasabi is driving innovation in data storage, all for up to 80% less than those other guys. Try them out for free at wasabi.com.